What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? The biggest questions of all. The questions that have dogged the greatest minds for centuries. It makes me look up to the heavens in awe at our vast, magnificent universe and wonder at the possibilities of what life is all about. Join me on a journey to understand more about who we are, why we're here, and to discover more happiness, meaning, and purpose. What is consciousness? What actually makes us conscious? Now, this is an incredibly important question because everything that we experience is through our own consciousness. How do we actually know if any of this is really objectively real? What can we be sure of right now? All we can be sure of is that we have awareness, that we are conscious, and we're having an experience. That's really all we can hold on to as the truth. Scientific materialists believe that these basic building blocks of matter can build a brain. That atoms can build molecules, molecules can build neurons, and the neurons in your brain create a feeling of consciousness. A subjective feeling of being aware. So as before, they believe that matter comes first. So atoms and neurons come first, and consciousness is just a random secondary effect down to chance. They say that the brain creates consciousness. This is the prevailing scientific view. However, we said that in quantum physics, human observation can affect the matter around us. That is a proven scientific fact. But could it be that there's something special about human awareness? That means that awareness is not just created by the brain. And could that special entity be consciousness itself? Some physicists, including Dr. Amit Goswami, Professor of Physics at the University of Oregon, believe that matter doesn't actually come first. It is not the basis for everything in the universe. Instead, could consciousness come first? Could consciousness be primary and matter be secondary, that matter comes second? Now, of course, this would be a radical departure for most physicists, as it would question the very basis of material science. This certainly isn't the mainstream view, but a radical group of physicists are toying with this idea. Interestingly, this was the view of the first physicist to build on the theory of quantum physics, John von Neumann. He believed that human consciousness was the reason that abstract wave probabilities turned into matter in the real universe. And he and others believed that this was true for our entire creation. We could only ponder at the mystery, the wonders of life, and see which secrets the universe reveals to us. We've discussed the idea that consciousness may come first and then only bring matter into being. If consciousness comes first, could it be that consciousness itself is the basic building block of the entire universe? Is consciousness what everything is made up of? Now, consciousness is not something material. It's not something that we can touch. It's a very subtle concept. It's like trying to grab water. It's a fluid concept. Yet, as we mentioned earlier, the matter around us appears solid, but it's not solid. There is nothing solid in our universe. It could just be vibrations masquerading as matter. And could those vibrations just be vibrations of consciousness? Just like a thought, which could also be seen as a vibration of consciousness. The idea that consciousness is the basis of the entire universe around us might seem far-fetched, a radical idea, heretical, fanciful. Some say there is no proof of this, or that there is no precedent for this kind of thing. But interestingly, we experience this natural phenomenon every day and we don't question it. That's when we have a dream. After a hard day's work, our head hits the pillow and we fall asleep. We let go of the waking state and we enter an altered state of awareness called the dream state. Now, in our dream, anything could happen. It's like a blank canvas. All possibilities exist. All probabilities exist. A dream is a field of infinite possibilities. Your subconscious mind can create any dream it likes. For example, you imagine yourself on a street with some friends. The friends in your dream, what are they made up of? They're not made of solid matter. Your friends are made up of your own consciousness. The street that you're suddenly standing on, what is it made of? Consciousness. The situation which feels so real is just happening within your own consciousness. Our own consciousness becomes the building blocks of all the matter and the people in our dream. And in that dream, everything seems real and solid. It feels so real that you can even have emotions of fear in a dream, which can be physically measured in your body. If you were a quantum physicist living in a dream, say imagining that you were living in this beautiful palace, what would you discover about the dream world that you were living in? Firstly, you couldn't be sure if anything actually existed outside your dream. Your dream is just what you can see in front of you. Just like the idea floated in quantum physics, that parts of the universe may not actually exist as matter when we're not looking at it. Consciousness comes first. Secondly, what you saw around you as matter might not actually be made of anything solid, although it could feel very real in the dream. Could all this matter actually just be the vibrations in your own consciousness? Thirdly, your consciousness can also make matter appear and disappear. In your dream, a new person or object can come out of nowhere, out of thin air, based on thoughts in your consciousness. This is the same as in the quantum world, where particles just appear and disappear at will in and out of our universe. Where do all these particles come from? If the universe is all just made up of consciousness, then they would just appear based on vibrations within our consciousness. Could it be that consciousness is all that exists? And it's constantly making choices from a set of probabilities. Now, what affects what happens in the dream? Which choice we actually make? It tends to be our state of mind. If we've been stressed out during the day, we're more likely to have nightmares. So our state of mind, the good or bad vibrations we're experiencing in our consciousness, they affect the particular reality that's created in the dream. When we wake up out of the dream state, we shift our state of reality into the waking state. But in the waking state, how do we know that there isn't a larger reality to which we are blinded? There are three states of consciousness that we reside in. The deep sleep state, where we're not aware of anything. The dreaming state, when we have limited awareness. And the waking state, where we have more awareness. Maybe the waking world is also a reality created within our own consciousness, where things appear solid, but in fact they are influenced by our own state of awareness, just as in quantum physics. This is something for us to ponder as one possible explanation from a plethora of explanations from physicists. Now, I'm not tied to this explanation, but I do think it's an intriguing possibility, and it seems to fit some of the observations. And could it be a unifying theory? Now, of course, there's great debate among scientists as to what the observations in quantum physics actually mean. There has been some recent work by eminent physicists such as Sir Roger Penrose on the theory of quantum vibrations in the brain. Specifically, vibrations in tiny microtubules of the brain inside the neurons themselves. Now, this seems once again to point to the idea that the subjective feeling of being conscious may be far more complicated than just being produced by our neurons. We have had three waves in modern science. In the 18th century, we had the physics of Newton. We thought we had it all figured out. Then quantum physics came along in the 20th century and changed our understanding of our universe completely. Could it be that in the 21st century, the new wave of science will be the study of consciousness and how it links to the world around us? And that consciousness may be the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle that unifies all these seemingly disparate aspects of science. In the next part of the film, I'm going to go into a hypothesis on the meaning of life. Now, of course, you can research so many different meanings of life on the internet, through places of worship, through books. And in fact, on our website, we've got a summary of the meaning of life according to the great traditions of the world. In this film, I will share one way of looking at the ultimate question of why are we here, but from a place of uniting people rather than separating us all. What values do we all share in common as human beings? What can this really tell us about why we are really here? Now, I'm curious to find out what would happen if more and more people discuss this point of view. What would happen if we are all connected, if we had a global conversation on the meaning of life? I hope to add to your exploration and give you a different perspective, maybe a perspective on life that you haven't come across before, and to leave it to you to decide. So often we rely on the words of others to come to the truth. But instead, in this film, I ask you to conduct an experiment like a scientist. A scientist develops a hypothesis and then conducts experiments to test the hypothesis. The experiments are repeated again and again to check the result. Other people are encouraged to replicate the experiment. Only then is a conclusion made on what is the truth. Let me give you an example. Imagine I had the most amazing drink in my hand. Oh, that is good. Now, I could give you all the logical arguments to prove to you that this is the best drink. I could bring up data showing that it is the most popular drink. But until you actually taste it, Until you conduct an experiment yourself, my logical, objective arguments are useless. How do you test this hypothesis? Consider the possibility that the ultimate truth can only be experienced, not proven. Your human consciousness is involved in the experiment. Now, science traditionally involves studying things from the outside, objectively. But this neglects a fundamental aspect of life: awareness. We said that in quantum physics, human awareness influences the reality around us. Therefore, we can't just remove human awareness out of the equation. Human awareness or consciousness, our subjective experience, is also important. And it may even be of primary importance. These ideas are based on my own repeated experiments, my own experiences through the ups and downs of life. And I'm really excited to share these ideas with you. I can't wait to hear about your experiences and your truths on the website. What will people discover? What will be created? What might happen in your life, and how could that ripple into the lives of those you most love? Now, the ideas in this film are not my own ideas. They're my own interpretation of many great teachers that I've had the privilege to meet. And I'm honoured to be able to express these ideas in film. Please do pass this film on to others using the website link or the app. Or maybe you can get people together to watch and discuss the contents of the film. For now, thank you for watching, and in the next part of the film, we will take a journey into this fascinating hypothesis on the meaning of life. Traditionally in science, matter comes first, and consciousness is a random byproduct. But could it be that consciousness comes first, and matter may be secondary? Could the very building blocks of our entire universe be consciousness itself? Could consciousness pervade everything, but we just can't see it? Just like dark energy and dark matter pervade our universe. In a dream, which can feel very real, everything is made up out of our own consciousness. These 30 days are an experiment to explore these ideas and find out what makes us who we are. In the next video, we'll state the first part of our hypothesis on the nature of consciousness and how it relates to the meaning of life.